Hello everyone, welcome back to KY24 Project YouTube channel. In today's episode, we will take you in the process of making this lovely and simple white underbust Lolita skirt. I had so many underbust Lolita skirt in my closet and I thought that it was finally time to show you how I made one. I do underbust design skirt differently, but in this video, I will show you how my normal and most easy way of making this project. I hope you will enjoy this process and let's go and start the project. First off, we will be sewing the two thick interfacing together. I'm sewing 2 inches away from the middle. Since the middle part holds the most tension part of the skirt, we will add structure by folding 2 inches on both sides for support. After this, we will sew the lining. Sew around the edges and side panels lining. You don't have to worry about the raw edges because we will run it later in the serger. Now, get your 2 panel printed brocade cloth. Sew them on together. We can flat sew it right facing each other into the interfacing and the lining piece we sewed earlier. No need to worry about the cut parts or the raw edges of this panel because we will all run it together later in the serger. Our next step is measuring 3 inches on both sides from the middle cut. The middle cut of the brocade cloth will be our measurement and our guideline for markings. After you're done with your measurement, get a ribbon and lace. Cut ribbons that is enough to make 3 pairs of crisscross. Sew the ribbon on and make sure to mark them all for an equal panel ribbon cross. We will sew 2 sets of crisscross on each side of the sides of the marks. After you're done with this, we will need to burn the raw edges. Just be careful not to burn too close on the fabric. I should have done this before sewing the ribbons, but I totally forgot about that. Now, it's time for the lace. I'm using this lovely lace and cutting it measurement to cover the raw edges of the ribbons. On the middle part, we will sew 2 layers of ribbons to cover the cut part of the brocade panel cloth. Also, don't forget to sew a 1 layer of ribbon covering the raw edge of the lace that we sewed earlier. After this, we can now run the whole piece into the serger, but leave the back panel raw. Now, fold and sew the top part of the panel bodies. I'm sewing 1/2 inch in this process, and I seriously wish that I did 1 inches to 2 inches panel fold. The panel ended up being too wide for the torso, but it was okay. We can now sew the 2 panel skirt together. Don't worry about the cut of the skirt, because later on, when we gather them, it will be hidden. Gather the skirt down to the measurement of your waist. This will depend on your measure. I also added 2 inches allowance for the measurement of my waist later on for the fold. When you are done with this step, you can now sew the skirt on the panel bodies. Make sure you start on the cut part of the skirt. When I have 2 panel skirt, I usually start on one side and go over the other side and sew it over again. This will lessen our problem and in bulky uneven frills and gathers. Run the whole piece on the machine one more time for sturdier support. After you're done with this step, you can now sew and add the back ribbon for the closure. Cut 6 ribbons around 2 inches in length. This will be sewn on the back of the corset. Mark 3 inches from the edge of the back panel. This is where we will sew the ribbons. First, you will need to sew the ribbons facing away from the edge. When you're done with this, you will flip it on the other edge again and flat sew them. Do this on both sides of the back panel. After you're done, fold the two back panel together and sew 2 inches seam away from the edge. I put so much allowance in my works, so just in case I need to do some adjusting, I will have more options and all. After this, you can now unstitch the seam around 10 inches from the top back panel. Now, fold the part where we unstitched the seam earlier. This will be our guide for the panel fold for the closure. Sew along the edges as close as possible. I usually go around 2 inches from the edge, but in this project I decided to go around the edges. After you're done with this step, you can now sew the back cover in place. Now, we can hem the lower part of the skirt. I'm sewing a 1/2 inch folded seam for this skirt project. After you're done with this step, we will now sew the ruffles directly under the skirt. You can now sew a ribbon along the edges. I'm sewing 1/2 inch from the edge of the skirt. And that completes our project. This underbust skirt is one of fun project I ever made. And I will surely make more of this sooner or later. But for now, we hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and this video. We will see you again really soon. Don't forget to comment and share this video. If you're still not part of the family, click subscribe. See you guys really soon. Bye!